Yo, what's going on guys? Naughty here, and I'm a ViPER main. This is the SPLiT guide for all the LiNEUPS I actually use in game. My sync guide is already uploaded, so if you want to go check that out, be sure to click on my channel and go watch that too. Hope you enjoy. So if you want to smoke off Heaven, you can come into jump on top of this box and in this corner, aim at this lights bulb, and then jump throw. It'll land right in the doorway, and it'll block off all vision. So if you want to smoke off ramps, come into this corner, and then aim at this corner where the little shrubbery meets this white box corner, and just left click. That'll smoke off all their vision, so you can push into main safely. So if you don't want to jump throw for the Heaven smoke, you can come and line up in the middle of these leaves, and then aim at this second black dash. So there's one here, and then the third one's right here, so there's aim at the middle one, and then just left click, and it'll give you the same smoke. So if you want to smoke off screens, come in this corner, and then line up where this line comes down onto the second white bar, and then left click throw. They'll smoke off elbow and screens. The only way they can peek you is if they play it directly on the side of the smoke. An ultimate you can use to get onto site is to come in this cubby and aim on this tile. And you can just walk all the way through onto site, and it'll give you free cover. You can even plant back here if you want to. So if you want to give a one-way to CT while you're holding Backsite, you can come into this corner, aim between this character and this character, and then in the middle of the dark green part, and then left click. That way when they walk through you can see their feet. If you want to smoke default off from screens, come in the middle of this vent, aim on this car, and then jump throw. It'll bounce off and smoke off screens from default, but it'll leave Heaven exposed. So to give yourself a one-way of this doorway, you can line up on this tile where the tile meets the concrete, line up on this darker spot, and then aim in the middle of this little cylindrical pipe, and then left click. That way if they try and peek you, you'll have a one-way. So if you want to smoke off B Heaven, come into this corner, and then line up the little dash between your Snakebite and your Toxic Orb, the right side of it onto this corner of this little gap, and then jump throw. It'll land right there, and they won't be able to see you unless they peek way over here. So if you don't want to jump to throw the B Heaven smoke, you can wedge yourself into this corner next to this box, and then aim on the second panel of this green overhang, and then just left click throw. And it'll give you the same smoke. So if you want to smoke off Heaven, just align yourself with this character, or like in between these tiles, aim at the bottom of this K, and then jump throw. When it bounces and lands, it'll cover up all of Heaven so they can't peek you. So if you want to smoke off fence, come in this corner, and aim at the top right corner of this sign.
Isolate them and kill them.
And then you can just normal left click throw. And it'll smoke off fence, so you can push into Heaven. So a quick snakebite to throw to clear out this back corner right here is when you're pushing up, just aim on this white silver beam to bounce off this white box, just running through it, and it'll bounce off and clear this entire corner. So this next snakebite is for ramps, so you just line up with this leaves. And this one isn't too specific, just somewhere in the middle of this shadow line. You can just left click, and it'll bounce off and land up here. So the only place they're safe is right here in this little corner. So if you want to snakebite the back left corner plant, you can come into line up with your crosshair on this wall, aim at this light, and then move your crosshair over to the edge of this building, and then left click. And it'll land right here. So if you want to snakebite Heaven, line up with these leaves, aim at this light, and just left click, And it'll land right here and not let them peek. If your teammate plants closer to short behind Flowerpot, you can align yourself in the middle of this box and then put your crosshair in this opening and then just go up to where this metal bar is on the billboard and then left click. It'll bounce off and land right here. If you want to snakebite behind Flowerpot Plant, align with your wall and then aim between these two buildings and then go all the way up until you're in line with this thick white bar. So go up here, that, and then left click. And it'll land back here. If you want to snakebite behind LED, go to the edge of this wall and then line your crosshair with this bright blue LED, go to the edge of this tall black building and then go up just a little bit and then left click. And it'll land right in the middle. So if you want to snakebite screens, line up with these leaves and then aim between these two windows and they won't be able to peek out. So if you want to clear out the under the Heaven balcony when you're pushing out on A, come in this corner and then aim at the top of this tree and just left click. It'll bounce off and land right here and force anyone who's playing there to push out. So if you want to snakebite right here, so behind the boxes on B, you can come into this corner and then put the white dot of the firing indicator below this second peg and then left click. When it lands, it'll clear out this entire behind the box. So if you want to snake by default, you just want to peek out from this corner and then aim in the middle of this green overhang and left click. And when it lands, it'll cover all of default. If you want to snake by default on B, you can come into this corner and then on this green billboard, right where these trees on it dip down, you want to aim inside that dip and you can just left click. And when it lands, it'll cover both left and right side of default box. So if you want to snakebite the boxes under Heaven that's in your CT, you can line up with this piece of wood and then put the third toxin line of your toxin like indicator, put it on the top of this building and then left click. And it'll bounce and land right here. If you want to snakebite the stacked boxes right outside B main, you can come in this corner and then put the dot right above E of the toxic screens inside this little corner like that, and then you can shoot. When it lands, it'll land and cover both boxes. If you want to snakebite the boxes stacked under Heaven, you can align yourself with this piece of wood and then put your second toxic line on the edge of the satellite underneath this little bar next to it. And then left click. And it'll land right here. If you want a one-way for Heaven door on A, just go into the middle of the dinosaur poster and then aim where these two gray bars meet and left click throw. That way you'll have a one-way for ramps. You can look into it and wait for them to push you. So if you want to give a one-way for Screens doorway, just come into the middle of this tile, aim into this corner, and then jumping right click throw. And you can watch from back here. If you want a one-way for ramp, you can come into this corner and aim where this light strip meets this gray area, so right there, and left click. So it'll deny vision there and you can play back here and watch for the cross. To give yourself a one-way for a main, you want to align yourself with the biphase and then aim, put your crosshair on this top line of where this slim gray piece is and then left click. And you can stand back here and see if they cross. To give yourself a one-way for B main, you want to come into the middle of this drain pipe and aim at this bottom left corner of the triangle and left click. That way when the game starts, you can either hold from back here or you can hold from this other angle right here. To give yourself a one-way for mid, come in the corner of the spawn barrier and this walkway and then
I want
aim
to see
where
you
this light
fall.
intersects this light on the top part of it. So right there, and then left click.
Poison orb
You'll be able to see
emitted.
if they push you or if they cross. If you want to give a one-way for bottom mid, you can either line up with ViPER phase or just kind of come in this corner and aim on this beam just above this little square and just left click.
Poison orb
You
emitted.
can play back here and you'll be able to see their feet. So to snakebite backside of A, like right there, line up in the middle of these 5 triangles. And then on this building, aim in the middle of this gray piece, but on the dark gray spots. It's like that. And then when it comes over and lands, it'll land backside. So if you want to snakebite the main entrance to A, just come in this corner and then put your, like the lines of the HUD of your health bar, put that on top of here and then a line next to here of the light. So like that, and then just left click. And when it lands, it'll block them from pushing in right here. So if you want to snakebite backside, like right there, just line up with the edge of this wall, like this. And then put your crosshair on this circular part, and then raise your HUD until the target of the firing indicator is on this darker edge. Just like that, and then raise it to right there, and then left click. And then when it lands, it'll cover all of backside. The only place they're safe is up here on this top box. So if you want to snakebite back of B behind the boxes, right there, you can line up with the edge of this wall. And then put your crosshair on this circular tube on the edge of the roof, and then go up towards in line with the billboard, and then left click. And then when it lands, it'll clear out this corner. So this one can be used for a retake on defense or a push plant on attack. So what you do is come to the edge of this wall, like where this line is, and then just go against it. And then aim at this last leaf on top, and just left click. When it comes down, it'll land on default. Thank you all for watching my split lineup guide. If you want to go check out my scent guide, go ahead and check that out on my channel. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm not sure if I'm doing Bind or Haven yet, so just be on the lookout for one of those 2 maps coming in the near future. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.